I am proud to highlight Karnataka's crucial role in driving innovation in the aerospace and defense sector. Karnataka contributes to 65% of India's aerospace related exports and caters to 70% supplier base for India's aerospace and defense industry. Supported by robust infrastructure, skilled talent, and global partnerships, Karnataka is shaping the future of India's aerospace aspirations. Invest Karnataka 2025 will further solidify our state's position as a preferred investor destination for aerospace and defense companies.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra. This is Market Today, the show where we'll help you understand the opening action on the day straight. Well, yesterday the markets did end on a lower note yet again, sixth day in a row. Although throughout the course of the day, we did see a lot of resilience being displayed and the markets did cover up a lot of the pain of the morning session as well. But eventually we held on to 23,000 but ended marginally in the red yesterday. Today, as we're opening in the green, 23,066, almost in tandem with what the GIFT Nifty trends have been indicating. It remains to be seen whether this uptrend and the green tick will continue to sustain throughout the course of the day. Remember, there are a whole host of important points that the markets will be reacting to. There is the very important Prime Minister Modi as well as Donald Trump meeting tonight. Prime Minister Modi has arrived in the US to meet President Donald Trump later today, and that will be the most important, meeting that the markets will be tracking for any kind of cues that will come in, although that will only start to pour in post the market hours today. Then, of course, Donald Trump has also spoken to Putin for the Ukraine war peace talks to start immediately. There are reports that are already suggesting that Trump has also got invited to Moscow. So that's something that we could be looking at as well. US CPI inflation is hotter than expected, and therefore we did see mixed trade on the US markets. Dow slipped by 150 points. Indian retail investors also have to look at the retail inflation figure that came in after the market hours yesterday, that dipped to a 5-month low in January. However, the IIP also slowed down to 3.2%. So the markets will be reacting to that as well. Importantly, when we come about stocks, this Kotak Mahindra Bank, a very heavyweight stock that will be important to track. RBI has lifted the restrictions on Kotak Mahindra Bank, and therefore the bank will be important to see because the bank will now be allowed to again issue new credit cards. So that's something that we could be also looking at. You're already seeing a 5.5% uptake that we are seeing as far as the pre-open trends are. In yesterday's trading session, also Kotak Mahindra Bank was somehow giving us those higher ticks. And again, in trading session today, you can actually look at some higher ticks coming in for this one. Apart from this, the FIs continued to sell again, sold about 4,969 odd crore rupees as on Wednesday, although DIIs continued to buy 5,929 odd crore rupees, was seen as a buying action from their side. Weekly options expiry, so we'll have to see how the action really pans out. Let's also welcome our guest on board. We have Mr. Vineet Bulinskar joining in on the show with us. He's the head of research at Ventura Securities. And also joining in is Mr. Prashant Tapsi, the research analyst at Mehta Equities as well. Warm welcome to both of you, and thank you so much for taking the time out. Vineet, I'll kickstart the conversation with you, and I wanted to understand how important do you think the Modi-Trump meeting is going to be, for the markets to track? Is there something that could probably lift the sentiments higher, pull the Nifty out of this extremely, weak trend that we have been witnessing thus far?
See, the most encouraging part of yesterday's market action was the fact that, we have successfully held on to 23,000 yet again, despite going well below that. And I believe that this Trump-Modi meeting will be very important, not only for the US, but also for India, because it will tell you a lot about how the relationship is going ahead vis-a-vis trade. It is expected that India will be taking over the role of China. At least that is what I feel, gradually over a period of time as we become the manufacturing base. And if you notice, during the budget, we already lowered the basic custom duties on passenger vehicles and motorcycles. And that is one of the demands that the US was making against India. it is believed that we would uh, escape the tariff wars that have been initiated by the US, primarily because we are already in back channel negotiations with them for getting things moving ahead. So I
Hmm.
believe that this meeting will be important, and that's the way to go ahead.
Okay, got that. So we are actually looking at that aspect as well. That will be important to track. We will come to that. The other important bit is when it comes to what I mentioned, Kotak Mahindra Bank. Prashant, I'll take that with you before we come to the markets and the overall sentiments. Kotak Mahindra Bank, RBI has removed the restrictions. It's indicative of a 10% uptick opening. How would you look at the stock? Do you think this is just a knee jerk, or does this really meaningfully change the cause for vote at Mahindra Bank? One should look at it actively today. Prash- Prashant, could you unmute yourself, please? We can't hear you. Okay, so there is some kind of an issue. We'll actually take that up with Vineet again. Vineet, Kotak Mahindra Bank, how positive are you on this one?
So we are very positive on this. In fact, it is one of our high conviction picks in the private sector banks.
Okay, okay.
Despite the RBI strictures, the bank has been able to grow its 9 month book at about 10%. And with the
Hmm.
Standard Chartered book purchase coming in and, building in some aggressive growth for Q4, I think we can easily end the year at about 16% of AUM growth. And
Yeah.
this ties up very well with the bank's expectation that they can grow 1.5 to 2 times nominal GDP. So I think it will be one of the banks growing very aggressively at 18% CAGR over the next 3 years. And it has got the best numbers in terms of net NPAs, highest growth, highest NIMs, and even the highest ROAs. So I think that you're getting a pedigree bank which has been uh, suppressed for a very long time. It has been underperforming the markets, and going ahead, we believe that this company will do really well. So we have initiated on this with the upside of about 40%, 2670 is the target. But in a good market, this stock can easily do upwards of 3,000 plus and possibly even double over the next 24 to 30 months. So very bullish on this stock, and uh, that's that, as we said.
Right. I'll also ask you about the other heavyweight bank in the private sector, and that's ICICI Bank. The trigger here is that there is an expectation or a anticipation of its Prudential PLC evaluating a potential listing of ICICI Prudential AMC, and there is an expectation the bank could continue to retain a major stake there. How would that really unlock value for shareholders?
So definitely, going to get one more value unlocking play within ICICI Bank, and at 1700 with expected 16-17% AUM growth plus this value unlocking story, I think we are going to see some very decent moves come out here from the bank. Uh, this stock could possibly head higher to around 21, 2200 over the coming few days.
Okay, got that. So there could be a possibility of an upside on ICICI Bank as well. I think we have Prashant back. Prashant, quickly, if I'll also take your view between the private sector banks, how are you looking at the fresh triggers and what looks good to you?
I think post budget, I think that a lot of consumption story will build up. So that will be a
Hmm.
booster, booster kind of support to the SBI, PSU bank as well as private banks, because a lot of
Okay.
money will come into banks and as well a lot of money will be spent through credit cards or many other ways. So I think the private banks will play a lot of a good game, because I think they are more aggressive to go ahead in the market and then make sure the money gets into their system. So I think I am very much positive on Axis Bank, Kotak Bank, especially for a shorter period of time.
Okay, fair point. So that's as far as the banking story is concerned. We need I also wanted to get a sense on Reliance Industries for you. I mean, like Reliance emerged as the primary drag for the index yesterday. Also, sharp fall has been continuously coming in on this one. Why do you think there are not enough triggers for pulling up Reliance Industries from this extreme narrow consolidative band that it has been in for a fairly long time? And what is it that investors should keep in mind if somebody is a long-term investor on Reliance?
So, if you notice, every year the group has announced some kind of aggressive
Yeah,
capex announcements during its AGM. This time
correct.
there was none. And so I believe that there are a lot of internal parts which are undergoing development, but we haven't really seen them come out. Like the story on the green energy movement around hydrogen, etc. There has been lack of complete absence of any kind of uh, movement on in those areas. Second is the a lot of the stocks uh, uh, growth factors are still missing. So I think the stock will only keep on underperforming, uh, and we tend to remain neutral on this as of now.
Okay. All right, Vineet and Prashant, what we'll do is we'll take a very quick break right here. When we return, we will also do some stock-related discussion with you where investors can probably look for an opportunity. Stay tuned with us, viewers. We'll be back in a jiffy.
Karnataka is the fourth largest automobile producing state in India, contributing 8.5% to the nation's vehicle production. The state also has the highest number of EV charging stations, boasting an impressive 5,765 public stations. We were the first to introduce an EV policy in 2017 and will soon unveil a clean mobility policy at our upcoming Global Investors Meet. Backed by our progressive policies, world-class infrastructure, and a skilled workforce, Karnataka is paving the way for growth in both traditional and EV sectors. Join us at Invest Karnataka 2025 and be a driving force in the future of automotive and EV innovation.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching Market Today on Business Today Television, and we have with us two market experts who are going to be helping us understand the current trend and the tenor of the markets. Mr. Vineet Bulinchkar is with us, and we also have Mr. Prashant Apsi. Prashant, I'll come to you now. When it comes to the markets, particularly the Nifty and the Nifty Bank, how are you looking at the index? I mean, after consecutive 6 days of a fall, although yesterday there was some sign of resilience that was seen. Today, we are probably going to be opening in the green, but it remains to be seen whether that will be sustainable or not. How are you looking at the market sentiment right now, and what are you advising clients?
Still in a neutral zone. The lot of news has been expected from the US markets. The US meeting right now, Trump and Modi meeting. But technically, I think that the yesterday's lows and 1 month January low have been tested. So there is some kind of strength in the overall markets. But again, if there is some kind of bad news, no good news from the meeting which will be held today night. So market can trigger down to 22,500 or even 21,500. So one bad news market texture will change. But again, if there is a neutral to positive news on a fundamental basis, which will focus more on India, I think the low of 20 to 800 can be the low for the short term period. So overall, the strength is there, but I think a lot of focus would be more on the meeting updates.
Okay, got that. So that's as far as the expectation on the markets go. We are just 1 minute away from the markets to open. We need very quickly any key fresh ideas that are coming onto your radar after the recent consolidation in the markets.
So we did speak about Kotak Bank, but I would like to speak more on the fundamental side of the macro things. Internationally, we've seen yesterday the Trump admin announced almost $4.5 trillion of additional debt raising and cutting of taxes proposals. These are of almost $4 trillion. such a wide gap being created in fiscal deficit is definitely unnerving, and we need to actually see how it will pan out.
Absolutely. Um, well, let's look at the markets opening now, and we'll come back to our conversation on the macro and the micro front. 23,100 is with us, viewers. 60 points higher on the Nifty, 0.25% of an uptick. The Nifty Bank, 49,692. 213 points higher in trade, and you're seeing a 0.4% of an uptick as far as the Nifty Bank is also concerned. Let's look at Kotak Mahindra Bank, the first bank stock that we will be looking at in trade today to see how the stock has reacted after the RBI restrictions have been removed. A percent higher or so. So the wild swings of pre-open trade are missing, but 1.5% higher as far as Kotak Mahindra Bank is concerned. Let's also look at Reliance Industries to see if there is any kind of an improvement on that one to see whether things will be on the positive side. Slightly higher, 1218 is what we are able to see at this point in time. What's good is that the mid caps are also opening higher, about half odd percent for the mid cap index. Let's also pull up the small caps to also see how they are fashioning. Even the broader markets had displayed some resilience yesterday. Both are opening about half odd percent higher in trade. Among the key sectors, IT is also opening higher. Remember, this was the only sector that managed to held on into the green for a large part of yesterday. Along with this, the other defensive pharma is also opening higher in trade today. You also have the auto stocks that are in the green right at the opening level. FMCG slightly higher, metals about 0.2% up, continuing with their slow and gradual recovery after massive fall has actually been seen in the recent past days. Advanced decline ratio is 1.5 to 1, 942 stocks in the green to 609 stocks which are in the red. Barring the realty index and slight losses on FMCG, rest of the sectors still look positive. You have the CPSE index, you have PSU banks, financials, banks, metals, pharma, IT, oil and gas, capital goods, all of them starting off with gains in today's trading session. So that's positive as far as the opening is concerned. Let's also look at the key stocks then to see where exactly is the momentum being seen on key stocks. On the losing side, as far as some of the key stocks are concerned, you have a lot of weakness coming in on the results factor. Natco Pharma 16.5% down in trade. This is even as the pharma index is high on the back of stocks like Cipla, Dr. Reddy's, Sun Pharma. All of them are up and about, but Natco Pharma, because of the results, is down. Then you have Jubilant Foods also. Results impact 6% higher. 680 odd levels can be seen on this one. Strong Q3 performance has also lifted Muthoot Finance right in the opening, and you can see a 4.5% uptick on that one as well. And those are some of the key stocks that we're looking at. Prashant, anything that catches your attention right at the opening?
I think SBI card would be highly focused for me. From last 2 3 days, the stock is in very much in action, and I think the way how the consumption story will pan out in coming few days. SBI card is the only stock which is listed in the card issuer space. In terms of valuation, again, I think a 25 forward P and less than 3 price to book value. I think this is a good and great stock to start investing in right now. So we are very much bullish on this stock, at least for 6 months plus as a investment horizon. But obviously, because of the market volatility, there should be one stop losses should be maintained considering the market volatility. So I think 790, 795 can be a stop loss for a very shorter period of time. So my observation is more on SBI card.
You were actually mentioning about that one really needs to keep an eye out on how the macros are keeping in place as far as the US markets and the triggers there are emerging. Do you think then our export oriented sectors, both IT and pharma, will be probably again at risk when it comes to any key knee jerk reactions that come in from the US? And therefore, what exactly should be one strategy on IT and pharma?
I think we should be very much neutral because we have seen Trump reaction in the last tenure, 2017,
Prashant, the
2021.
question was for Vineet.
Okay, Vinith,
Yeah,
please go
so
ahead.
I am very skeptical on the IT story. I think that there are a lot of revelations that are going to be announced in the next few days on the you know role of big tech in the the unveilings that are going on in the US market. So I'm a little cautious out there. But pharma continues to be a sweet spot given the fact that generics will be a strong play. You cannot have everything being uh, put under tariffs. Else, life is going to be very, very expensive for the Americans. Already, people are talking about Trumpflation taking place. Yesterday,
Hmm.
CPI numbers which came in were very, very ahead of estimates, and with the
Yeah.
Trump, tariffs kicking in, it's going to become very sticky. Even if you talk of a few of the items which are not part of the core inflation, they're into double digits. So there could be a kind of uh, you know uh, a possible freeze of demand coming through.
Fair point. But Vineet also wanted to get a sense, and I will then come to Prashant also for a view on the same. Gold and alternative asset classes beyond equities, do you think they should be actively looked at even if they are at record high levels? I mean, even stocks like, say, Muthoot Finance, they're up and about. Of course, earnings also has a play, NIMs improved for the company. But if one has to really play the gold story, should one look at the gold stocks as well?
I think they're definitely a good asset class to look at. I think these Muthoot Finance is a very good stock to own in your portfolio, because what happens is with the existing customer base also, with the rising price of gold, the ability of the customer to draw credit and for the company to deliver growth is very easy. And from these levels, if the kind of things that we are seeing, gold shortages happening globally, like Seoul has shut down its Korea has shut down its mint. In the UK, there is a shortage of gold deliveries. They are taking 6 months to deliver. So all these are pointing to a kind of a situation where gold can really fly. So definitely, Muthoot Finance can be a very, very safe way to play the gold boom story.
Okay. Prashant, what's your view on the gold related investment? Where are you positive on in the markets?
I think the last 2 years people have missed to have gold in their portfolios. I think that's a big lesson. Only and gold has delivered better than all the equity from last 2 years. But I think yes, obviously to have a proxy play towards the gold as a business, Muthoot Finance or Senko, these two stocks can be a part for your portfolio, but are not at these levels. Again, I think valuations are almost at the peak right now, considering the gold at the peak. So I think one should look at at a right value and then buy these stocks. Other way, again, one should also focus more on the digital gold through SGB gold bonds. That should also be a part of your portfolio right now. So I'm positive on gold as a long-term investment.
Positive gone gold as long-term investment, but let's actually come back to the pharma story. I wanted to discuss some stocks here. Natco, I marked a sharp slide has been seen, 16-17% on. As far as the Q3 earnings go, profit declining 38%. Vineet, you'd remember how people were gung-ho on Natco Pharma just a few months ago, and everybody was talking about it. How are you looking at Natco Pharma post the results? I mean, do you think this is just a knee-jerk reaction? It's only one quarter and things will improve for the company?
So, as far as the pharma stock, especially like Natco, which are very high on new innovative innovations, you will
Yeah.
continuously keep having these, fluctuations coming in, especially with remdesivir volumes expected to peter out.
Hmm.
You will have these flips going through. But, you need to see this stock more from the point of view of, you know, being a story that you should play out in the long run. You need to have a lot of patience and guts of steel to hold on to this stock, especially in the kind of tumultuous markets that we are witnessing.
Fair point. Prashant, coming to you, some of the other earnings that have come in. I'll talk to you about Honasa Consumer. Sharp improvement, after the earnings on the stock also. Momentum about 6-7% odd coming in today. How are you looking at Honasa? Have the weaknesses of the past a thing of the past now? Do you think things are on course to move in the right direction fundamentally as well, and therefore the stock prices look better?
On price, I think the reaction is all based on the Q2, Q3 earnings. But in terms of valuations, I'm not comfortable at this level even now. It is almost trading at 100 plus P in terms of valuations. I think very much risky bet to consider. Whatever happened in last one Q1 and Q2 due to their mismatch in their inventory as well as sales, distribution sales. So I think that is a concern still there in the books. And I think one should also try to wait for more time but for a better price to buy this Honasa for the portfolio. But time being, I would like to avoid it.
Okay. We need another stock that came out with the earnings. Jubilant Foodworks is something that I wanted to discuss from the QSR space. How have you assessed the earnings? What does it mean for the stock going forward?
No, I think among the QSR stock, it is one of the companies which has demonstrated reasonable performance without taking price hikes in the last 4 years. We are looking at them expanding their portfolio or the number of outlets by almost double. So they are going to really improve their penetration in Indian market. So if you want to play the QSR story, I think this is one stock which will definitely give you returns.
Okay, QSR space, you should definitely look at Jubilant Foodworks, and in the long haul, this is likely to outperform again. Again, looking at related spaces, food delivery and quick commerce, Zomato, Swiggy. How are you looking at them afresh? There have been periods of volatility beneath. Do you think that this volatile period may continue, or this is giving an opportunity to investors to probably continue accumulating here? What is your thought?
You know what, we were quite positive on this stock if you remember, but we've done our modeling yet again with Blinkit and the other things.
Yeah.
What we find is that the new customer additions are not happening at the pace as we like it to happen in the in the in the QSR, in the quick commerce chain, but the motion that is there in the Blinkit business is very, very good. District is amplifying well. So we continue to believe that this will be a zone of uncertainty right now. And we do not rule out that the price will also come down below 200 bucks going ahead.
Okay, okay. There is some slide that we are seeing on the markets from the highs at this point in time. India has also shot up about 3.5%, and there is a fall from the high of about 116 odd points on the Nifty, back below 23,000 mark. So we are slipping away. The Nifty bank also in the red, about 0.05% lower, and Sensex is down by about 350 odd points, so half odd percent of a decline there. Just before the 15-minute candle is supposed to form, and we are already seeing some weakness trickle in after the initial few minutes of trade. Prashant, how would you look at this market?
I think this volatility will continue for the whole day because all eyes would be on the news flow from the Trump-Modi meeting. So again, the support would be at yesterday's lows, 22,780, 790. So that would be one support for the market. One should wait and watch for those things. If that breaks down today or tomorrow, I think that would be a major concern for overall markets. But due to the news flow from the global markets, I think that would be only concern for overall Nifty trend. So overall, still the support remains very strong as we bounced yesterday with almost 200, 300 points from the low. So that would be a strength for the market.
Okay. Well, what we'll do, viewers, is we'll thank Mr. Vineet Bulinshkar for being with us in the morning edition. Vineet, always appreciate your time with us. Great to have you. But we'll be catching you up soon once we start to get what Prashant says is going to be extremely important, the cues from the US and the meeting between Modi and Trump and what that means for the Indian markets. Another key trigger after 2 or 3 major triggers have already gone by. We'll have to see whether everything is in fine shape and then hope if the markets can continue to pull up their journey. Thank you so much, Vineet, for being with us. Viewers, what we'll do is we'll take a very quick break right here. And when we return, Prashant will be with us to again help out understand any key strategies that you can adopt in this current volatile market, the key sectors that could prove to be safe havens, or the stocks that you can still keep on your radar. Stay tuned with us.
Karnataka has established itself as the leading hub for electronic system design and manufacturing in India, contributing 10% to the nation's electronics output. We are also home to 400 plus MNCs with global R&D centers. With over 100 fabulous chip design houses and 40% national share in electronic design, Karnataka stands as a prominent hub for chip innovation in India. Invest Karnataka 2025 will bring more global players to benefit from the state's strong and tech-enabled ecosystem.
Back, you're watching Market Today on Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra, and with us is Prashant Tapsi to help us understand the market trends shaping up. Prashant, anything after the first 15-minute candle is out, key sectors that can still provide any buying opportunities for investors today?
I think auto would be one stock one sector one should focus now. M&M is doing great today. Again, I think Tata Motors should also catch up the same trend. So overall, with respect to M&M, I am very much bullish fundamentally as well as technically. The stock can again go back to its 3,200 levels. And Tata Motors again, it has done a good base support yesterday at almost 670. So I think Tata Motors also has a great bounce back post yesterday's closing. So I think both stocks will be leading today as well as the auto sector. So that would be one stock one should focus today.
Okay, fair point. Let's actually do some stock spotting here. Eicher Motors and M&M have actually been on a downward slide over the last few days. How are you looking at these two stocks, and what is your suggestion to investors who hold them for the long term?
I think M&M should continue to be a long-term stock right now on the basis of fundamental as well as technical. So fundamentally, I think the growth is really good. The Q3 earnings were really better than expected in terms of market expectations. So I think M&M will add more, some fundamental support for a stock to go back to a new high again for next 1 year. Due to its EV launch, again, I think there will be great, sales going forward. The BE6 and other EV launches which they are going to launch very soon. So as with respect to Eicher Motors, again, I think there is a little bit of volume degrowth from last 2 quarters. So I think that will be one major concern for Eicher Motors. And because of its focus more on the CV, still there is no good capex by the private sector. I think that the CV cycle will underperform for a very short period of time. Even Ashoka Leyland, again, high focus on the CV sector. So I think that will be very much under pressure.
Right. And Prashant, you talked about SBI Cards. It's further picking up pace now, up over 80% as one of the stocks that you recommended. So kudos to you. The stock is on the move right after you have been suggesting it too. Other stocks, Muthoot Finance also gaining some traction in trade right after we have been discussing what its future prospects mean like, and whether it has enough to catapult as far as the entire gold demand is concerned. So you can now see the stock moving about 5.5% higher in trade right now. What else can we discuss? HAL. That's another important one that we should discuss. Some recovery coming into shape, 2.5% higher. This is after the results came in yesterday. Results were better on both the profitability and the revenue figures. We have seen an improvement coming in, but the stock had been, hammered right before, and that was after concerns were being raised on its being able to deliver the huge orders that it is sitting on as well. But the company clarified that they are on track to meeting the ordered execution as well. So that also gave a relief move. And today again, you're seeing HAL up by about 2.5%. Your suggestion, Prashant, on Hindustan Aeronautics, and whether this is the time that you actually believe long-term investors holding at higher levels could probably look to accumulate more stocks.
I think, yes, rightly said. HAL is one stock one investor should accumulate on every dip. If you understand that in Bangalore there is a Euro show going on, I think a lot of global finance global security ministers from all the other countries have been in Bangalore. I think they are looking at HAL as a great opportunity, and there may be a lot of big orders to have HAL from the export-oriented businesses. So I think overall focus would be on the export-oriented business. And I think even the downside is very limited on charts. I think 3,500 can be the worst case scenario for the stock. So I think if the stock goes down to those levels, that is a great opportunity for a long-term investors or first-time investors who can grab this opportunity for long-term investment.
Okay, there is some recovery on the Nifty Bank from the lows, about 0.4% up again. Extremely volatile market that we are in right now. The Nifty is back into the green too. So you've seen that dip, and you've seen that buying happening at that dip as well. Nifty Bank is now 200 points higher in trade. That's probably lifting the sentiments at this point in time. If we also look at the key contributors at this point in time, you'll see Kotak Mahindra Bank, ICICI Bank, M&M, Sun Pharma, Bajaj Finance as the key stocks that are contributing to the markets on the higher side at this point in time. But let's look at some of the other pockets too. I wanted to discuss, some pockets like real estate, for instance, Prashant. We have discussed this sector so many times over in our previous conversations. Is the kind of an uptrend that we were seeing on this sector, which has been rather for like last 2 3 years, this sector has been outperforming the market through. Do you think that's probably now losing steam? Things maybe are turning into a negative cycle for the real estate space. What exactly is your thought process there? The index slipped by over 20%, 25% from its peak already. So it's entered a bear phase. There may be some days like today, there is a recovery about half a percent. But what is your overall thought here? Should one continue to build on positions in the mid cap or some of the select pockets here? Or is it the time to probably relook at some of the investments?
I think you rightly said the sector has already underperformed by 20% low from the peak. The reason would be again Q2 earnings, Q3 earnings of major of the stocks have not done well. Even their month on month, the sales updates have been not so well because again the premium class real estate updates have been very much negative. If you see again, the overall real estate is indirectly linked to the stock market performance. Whoever have earned a lot in last 2 years have invested in real estate, but again, if you see last 6 months markets have not performed well. So there is a portfolio under pressure, and there may be not enough money may not flow into the real estate again to invest. So I think that is one reason why the month-on-month sales figures of all the top four real estate companies have been on the negative side. So on the valuation again, I think Godrej property can be one stock one should look at. It has already down by almost 30 to 40% from the peak. So that can be one good fundamental stock one should focus on, but not at this right price again. I think we should wait for Q4 earnings as well. So I think 1500 to 1600 can be a good level for a stock like Godrej Properties. Again, it should be at least 6 months to 1 year as a investment opportunity, not for the short term period.
Fair point. Okay, so that's as far as the real estate space is concerned. How about the consumption theme that we were so big on right after the budget as well? Do you think that space still has a lot to offer? Should one continue to look at that space, maybe the FMCG, consumer discretionary? Any key stocks that you particularly like from this space?
So I am in a different understanding about this. Anyhow, the effect would be next financial year. So obviously there would be a wait and watch for the stocks to outperform. Q3 numbers and Q4 numbers should be watched. Is there is a volume growth or not? But I am thinking of two other sectors. One would be the consumer finance sector. Again, the NBFC sector. I think lot of money will go through that way because again, if you want to buy a car, I think you will not pay 100% cash. You'll obviously have NBFC or a bank to support the 70-80% of the funding. So I think this consumption story will flow more business to a company like Bajaj Finance or anything like a bank, HDFC Bank, Kotak Bank. That should be the first stock one should focus because these banks are the mother of all sectors. If there is a liquidity more in the hands of common man, obviously he will think of investing in somewhere or spending in somewhere. But bank will be the major part where the play will be high. So I think I am very much positive on Bajaj Finance, private banks, as well as auto stocks.
Okay, got that. I hope this has also helped all our viewers really understand how should we look at the consumption theme as a whole at this point in time. Within the mid and the small caps, Prashant, how are you looking at the opportunities? These have been the two pockets that are again more vulnerable to any kind of correction that's coming in that's the space that reacts more, and we see deeper cuts there. The small caps on an intraday basis yesterday also entered into the bear zone by declining 21% from its peak too. And then there is this entire debate happening about whether you should be continuing to stop your SIPs or continuing in the mid and the small cap. How would you look at mid and small caps now? What are you advising clients here?
I think we should go a choose and pick strategy right now, not to focus on more on small cap and mid cap. Because on the valuation side, again, I'm still not comfortable. 60, 70 P, which is almost very peak right now. They were 100 P and now they are 60 P because almost 30-40% of the valuation have been brought down. If you see 10-year average for a mid cap stock P average, it was 15 to 20 P in an historical average. So it is more than that still. I think we have to wait and watch. Q3 earnings and Q4 earnings should be a wait and watch period for all the investors. Then you have to you need to pick and choose for a right fundamental stocks where the visibility is very much strong. If you see Usha Martin, if you see smaller stocks like Granules again in the mid cap space, so if you have a visibility again, then only one can grab this opportunity of 30-40% in terms of price correction. Otherwise, simply the stock, if the stock is down by 50% by last 3 months, that should not be one reason one should focus more on mid cap and small cap. Fundamental valuation, visibility in the business, strong product flow, strong business, that should be the reason why one should focus on mid cap and small cap.
Okay, fair point. Then let's also look at the PSU space. How are you looking at the PSU stocks, which have actually been long and forgotten? The erstwhile favorite space that used to be and where retail investors went in with big exposure. Those spaces have not actually come back to their own original, momentum on the higher side, and in fact are slipping lower. What exactly is your thought on the overall PSU space?
In this PSP space, I think one should focus more on the financial, that is PSU banks, not on the defense, railways, or any other sector, because I think the Josh in that those stocks have come down. A main reason would be again, I think the deliverability of Q3 earnings were not so good. The execution is still a risk for any PSU companies like defense or railways. Again, on the in terms of growth, in terms of EBITDA as well as PAT, there's still a concern. So I think my thought on a positive side would be focus more on PSU bank. I think the way I have explained you, the mother of all the sector, I think PSU can play a great role right now on the valuation side. On the balance sheet side, I think Bank of Baroda, PNB Bank, or Union Bank. I think these three stocks can be a great stock for another shorter period of time.
Okay, fair point. I hope this has also helped all our viewers really understand the stance in the market that one should be really looking at. Any other key stocks that come onto your radar, Prashant, that probably you'd like to advise our viewers on, where you find risk reward favorable, more value at this current level after the recent decline has come in?
I think we were discussing about Zomato and Swiggy. I'm still very much bullish on this sector. Again, the price correction is giving a great opportunity for a faster sector growth. The sector is growing almost 40-45% month on month. So I think due to the last Q3 earnings of Swiggy, even Zomato fell down by 5-10%. I think the weaker hands are out right now. Zomato at 200 rupees and Swiggy at 350-340 rupees looks very great opportunity for me. And that should be part of your portfolio. I think for more than 1 year period of holding, I think these two stocks should be one stock we should not miss out.
Fair point. Okay, got that. Prashant, well, we will thank you then on this note to help us understand how the markets should be really looked at in the current trend. And we'll definitely have you back very soon to guide all our viewers on the trajectory ahead as well. We'll start winding up the morning edition, and definitely we will also look at the kind of move that we are looking at in the markets right now. Then we'll actually wind up the morning session, 23,122, again on a better footing, 0.3% higher. You are looking at as far as the Nifty is concerned. Then at least on the mid caps also, there is a recovery from the day's low. The mid caps are up by about 0.8%. And you're also seeing this recovery is a broad-based recovery, not just on the Nifty or the Nifty Bank that's also up by 0.4%, but even the broader markets that are showing a smart recovery in trade. Let's also look at the key move that we are seeing on the key stocks today. There is a momentum on the banking related stocks that are higher. We have Kotak Mahindra Bank, ICICI, M&M, Sun Pharma, Bajaj Finance as the top movers and the contributors on the Nifty. While on the declining side, you have stocks like HDFC Bank, TCS, Infosys, Tech Mahindra, Hindalco as those which are actually contributing to the declines today. We'll also look at some stocks like Lupin in the pharma space that's up and about post earnings, 4.7% higher is what we are looking at. Suven Pharma is also looking positive from the pharma part, but it's Natco Pharma that's declining post earnings. Then you also have Bharat Forge that's declining post earnings as well. Vodafone, again, there is a negative news, another setback, and that's why the stock is actually down in trade today. But the trend still seems to be on the positive zone. It'll be important to see whether the markets can sustain this move on the higher side because right now the stocks and the sectors are skewed towards the positives. We'll have to see whether there is this recovery that sustains throughout the course of the day as well. Well, we'll wind up the morning edition now, viewers, but do stay tuned with us on to Business Today as we will continue to get you all the exciting conversations on markets and also on mutual fund SIPs as well, since there is this large debate taking place as to what exactly should you be doing on your SIPs if you have them on the mid and the small cap space. Then I'll be joining you at 11:30 a.m. to get you a key insight from experts as to what should your SIP rules be. Stay tuned with us.
Invest Karnataka 2025 is our chance to showcase Karnataka's best to the world. The business community, startups, academia, and even youngsters, I invite everyone to be part of this mega platform. From February 11th to 14th, let the world witness why Karnataka is the best destination to invest.
With new trade wars surmounting globally, where does India stand? To talk more about this, we have here with us DK Joshi, who's the Chief Economist, CRISIL. Pleasure to have you here, sir.
Happy to be.
Sir, I want to start by asking you that, there's a lot of news about US tariffs. What sort of effect do you expect that it can have on the Indian markets and on